NBC5. Is this a case of championship experience against some of the youth of your team tonight?
No, the Warriors are good. They're a good team. We executed there for a little bit. That third quarter, we talked about and understood. That's where they, tend to turn up the heat, and so, we got great looks, but we have to do better. We have to understand when we shoot 3 or 4 threes in a row and miss, you got to get to the rim. You got to get the ball into the paint. You got to get to the free throw line, and that's just understanding the situation, learning, and maybe it is experience. But again, the guys came out and executed from the start and put ourselves in a position to win on the road.
You also lost the battle of the boards, but as you said, you got to play smaller lineups. But Looney had a pretty big game against you guys. What can you do to try to, lessen his impact as the series goes on?
Yeah, you got to put a body on him. You got to box him out. We have to team rebound and make sure that he doesn't come up with the rebound. But that's he's one of the guys that no one writes about or talks about, but we understand the impact that he has on the game of giving those guys second or third opportunities. So for him to have 5 offensive rebounds, that puts us in harm's way.
Why do you think the dam broke for you guys defensively in the fourth quarter?
Offense. We play defense when we play offense, and we play no defense when we can't score. And that's something that we have to get better at this time of the year. You can get away with it in the regular season, but just understanding the defensive principles, we just have to do better.
Jason, where on some of the dunks they were able to get, guys like Kevon Looney, some of those breakdowns, where was the breakdown in the chain of the rotation there? Like, where were you seeing the defense come apart?
Well, I think it just, they made plays, and we just have to do better. They attack the paint. We got to protect the rim. And when we go back to look at that's one of the things that we have to do better. When we looked after game 1, we did a lot better with the physicality of the game. Being able to make shots there in that first half, we made shots, again, putting ourselves in a position, and then we got those same shots in the third, but when you go 2 for 13 and you rely on the 3, you can die by the 3, and we died in the third quarter by shooting that many threes and coming up with only 2.
Jason, what goes into the thought process, especially there in the third quarter, they make their big run, get back in the basketball game. How do you evaluate when to call a timeout, when not to? How do you try and use that, or perhaps not use that to stem the tide in that situation?
You only have so many timeouts. I can't burn them all in the third. And so just understanding, we've gone through runs. This is a team about runs, and also this is a great learning experience for a young team to go through to understand what it means to stop a run. Can't ask the coach to always call a timeout, and we believe in one another to be able to execute on the offensive end and get a stop or get a basket and get a stop. And so we took timeouts, but just, sometimes you got to put the ball in the basket to stop a run.
Jason, you guys over right here.
Where are you at, Tim?
Right here.
There.
You guys have taken pretty much the most threes in the postseason, and you've won that way. So in your eyes, what's the difference from taking too many threes, or what's a 3-point shot that you guys were taking that it would be better or for a different outcome?
Well, if you make them, that's great, but you just have to understand, if you miss 4 in a row, you can't take the 5th. You got to make it. That just puts too much stress on yourself and your team. Because if you're not getting stops on the other end, it turns into a blowout. And so that's what I mean by being understanding, what situations we put ourselves in by shooting 4 threes in a row. If you shoot the 5th one, you got to be able to make it. If you don't, you're on the other end of a blowout, and that's what happened in the third quarter.
Jason, you guys have shown the ability to be resilient at multiple different stops through this postseason. Is this as big a piece of adversity your team has faced in these playoffs, having such a big lead and allowing it to go away?
It's basketball. We're on the road against one of the best teams in the league. It happens. They held serve. We've seen this in Phoenix. So now we have to go back and just focus on Game 3 and get ready for Game 3, understanding what's at stake. We just have to protect home and focus on that first possession.
Sorry, Jason. I was just curious, what did you think about Luka's resolve and his grit, knowing that he wasn't at full strength heading into this and hadn't had a great game in Game 1?
Yeah, well, I think we talked about that before the game, that we thought he would have a good game, and he did. That's just who he is. He put his team in a position to win on the road, not just by having 42 points, but only had 2 turnovers. He took care of the ball tonight. He was a great quarterback. He got guys wide open shots. We just have to make them. Thanks.